is Mr. Applewhite speaking. There is nothing wrong with your device. Join me here on Psycho Bunny DC. A delightfully dreadful consternation of horror content. Use your head and free your mind.
Hello and welcome to History 101 with me, your host, Doomsday. Tonight I'll be talking about the who's, what's, when's, and how's of one of the most famous French astrologers, physicians, and reputed seer. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the history of Nostradamus. Let's go on and say hi to the people here. Hi, Christy LeVay, if I'm saying that right, LeVay. Let's wait, see more people come in real quick. How y'all doing? Glad you're all here. Glad you're here. Not a lot of people in here. What's going on? All right, we got Farmer Damon Baird. What's up, Ray? How's it going, my brother? The farmer is in. Oh, okay, Christy. Yeah, okay, I got it right. Sean Hunt, hello. And hello to the 10 people that are in here. Hi, Maud. Oh, hi, Liz. All righty, guys. Let's get started, okay? So, Michel de Nostradamus, also known as Nostradamus, was a French astrologer, physician, and a reputed seer who is best known for his book Les Prophéties, a collection of 942 poetic quatrains allegedly predicting future events. The book was first published in 1555. Born December 14th or 21, so they say, in 1503 in Saint-Rémy de Provence, Kingdom of France, Nostradamus was one of the least 9 children of Notre Dame, or Jacques de Nostradam, and Rainier, granddaughter of Pierre Saint-Rémy, who worked as a physician in Saint-Rémy. The earliest ancestor who can be identified on the fraternal side of Astrigue of Carcassonne, who died about 1420. Let's see who's on here. Yeah, it's Monday. Hey, farmer, you open up that red wine, man. Hey, take it easy, take it easy. Okay, let's get back to here, okay? So, Michel's known siblings include Delphine, Jean, Pierre, Hector, Louis, Bertrand, Jean II, born 1522, and Antoine, born 1523. Little else is known about his childhood, although there is a persistent tradition that he was educated by his maternal great-grandfather, Jean Saint-Rémy, a tradition which is somewhat undermined, by the fact that the latter disappears from the historical record after 1504, when the child was only 1 year old. At the age of 14, Nostradamus entered the University of Avignon to study for his baccalaureate after little more than a year, when he would have studied the regular trivium of grammar, rhetoric, and logic rather than the later quadrivium of geometry, arithmetic, music, and astrology. He was forced to leave Avignon when the university closed its doors during an outbreak of the plague. After leaving Avignon, Nostradamus, by his own account, traveled the countryside for 8 years from 1521 searching herbal remedies. In 1529, after some years as the apothecary, he entered the University of Montpellier to study for a doctorate in medicine. He was expelled shortly afterwards by the student procurator Guillaume Rondet when it was discovered that he had been an apothecary, manual trade, expressly banned by the university statutes. Uh-oh. Oh. Shit. I lost my place here. Hold on. Give me a minute. Okay. The expulsion document BIU Montpellier Register S2 Folio 87 still exists in the faculty library. However, some of his publishers' correspondents would rather call him a doctor. After his expulsion, Nostradamus continued working, presumably still as an apothecary, and became famous for creating a rose pill that purportedly protected against the plague. Hey, what's going on, Tom? Don? Hi. Hi, Natalie. Attention. Tom has many videos. Yes, he does. After another visit to Italy, Nostradamus began to move away from medicine and towards the occult. Following popular trends, he wrote an almanac for 1550. For the first time in print, licensing his name to Nostradamus. He was so encouraged by the almanac's success that he decided to write one or more annually. Taken together, they are known to have contained at least 6,338 prophecies, as well as at least 11 annual calendars, all of them starring on 1 January and not as is sometimes supposed in March. Hi Genevieve, how's it going? Good evening. It was mainly in response to the almanacs that the nobility and other prominent persons from far away soon started asking for horoscopes and psychic advice from him, though he generally expected his clients to supply the birth charts on which these would be based rather than calculating them himself, as a professional astrologer would have done. When obliged to attempt this himself on his basis of the published tables of the day, he frequently made errors and failed to adjust the figures for his client's place, time of birth. So, Farmer Damon says, attention, Farmer Damon Baird has a bottle of red wine. Yes. Don Black Doomsday likes chicken. Yeah, I do like chicken. I also love turkey, too. So there's another fact you know about me. I love turkey. He began his projects of writing a book of 1,000 mainly French quatrains, which constitute the largely updated prophecies for which he is most famous for today. Feeling vulnerable to opposition on religious grounds, however, he devised a method of obscuring his meaning by using virtualized syntax, word games, and mixture of other languages such as Greek, Italian, Latin, and Provencal. Hello, James Gilbert. How you doing today? For technical reasons, he connected with their publications in their 3 installments. The publisher of the 3rd and last installment seems to have been unwilling to start in the middle of a century or book of 100 verses. The last 58 quarantines of the 7th century have not survived in any extant edition. The quarantines published the book titled Les Prophéties, The Prophecies, received a mixed reaction when they were published. Some people thought Nostradamus was a servant of evil, a fake, or insane, while many of the elite evidently thought otherwise. Catherine de Medici, wife of King Henry II of France, was one of Nostradamus' greatest admirers. After reading his almanacs for 1555, which hinted the unnamed threats to the royal family, she summoned him to Paris to explain to them and to draw up horoscopes for her children. At the time, he feared that he would be beheaded, but by the time of his death in 1566, Queen Catherine had made him counselor and physician in ordinary to her son, the young King Charles IX of France. Some accounts of Nostradamus' life state that he was afraid of being persecuted for heresy by the Inquisition, but neither prophecy nor astrology fell in this bracket, and he would have been in danger only if he had practiced magic to support them. So Don Black says, I have 2 chickens. Oh, yeah. Okay. Conflict with the church and the Aegon after the Inquisitor visited the area looking for anti-Catholic views. His brief imprisonment at Marijane in late 1561 was solely because he had violated a recent royal decree by publishing his 1562 almanac without the prior permission of a bishop. In the prophecies, Nostradamus compiled his collection of major long-term predictions. The first installment was published in 1555 and contained 353 quarantines. The third edition, with the 300 new quarantines, was reportedly printed in 1558, but now survives as only part of the omnibus edition that was published after his death in 1568. This version contains one unrhymed and 941 rhymed quarantines, grouped into 9 sets of 100, and one of 42 called centuries. Giving printing practices at the time, which included types of setting from dictation, no 2 editions turned out to be identical, and it is relatively rare to find even 2 copies that are exactly the same. Certainly there is no warrant for assuming, as would-be code breakers are prone to do, that either the spellings or punctuations of any edition are Nostradamus' originals. The almanacs by far our most popular of his works were published annually from 1550 until his death. He often published 2 or 3 in a year, entitled either almanacs, detailed predictions, or prognostications, or presages, more generalized predictions. Nostradamus was not only a diviner, but a professional healer. It is known that he wrote at least 2 books on medical science. 2 books. 2, count them, 2. One was an extremely free translation, or rather paraphrase, of the Prophetic of Galen. Paraphrase D.C. Galen sus. Oh shit, that's in French. I'm not going to read that all. And his so-called Traité des Fardemes, basically a medical cookbook containing, once again, materials borrowed mainly from others. He included a description of methods he used to treat the plague, including bloodletting, none of which apparently worked. The same book also describes a preparation of cosmetics. A manuscript normally known as the Aurus Apollo also exists in the Lyon Municipal Library, where upwards of 2,000 original documents relating to Nostradamus are stored under the aegis of Michel Colmarat. Okay. Its purported translation of the ancient Greek work on Egyptian hieroglyphs, based on later Latin versions. All of them unfortunately ignorant of the true meanings of the ancient Egyptian script, which was not correctly deciphered until Champollion in the 19th century. Since his death, only the prophecies have continued to be popular, but in this case, they have been quite extraordinary so. Over 200 editions of them have appeared in that time, together with over 2,000 commentaries. Their persistence in popular culture seems to be partly because their vagueness and lack of dating make it easy to quote them selectively. After major dramatic events and retrospectively claim them as hits. Nostradamus claimed to base his published predictions on judicial astrology, the astrological judgment or assessment of the quality, and thus potential, of events such as births, weddings, and coronations, etc., but was heavily criticized by professional astrologers of the day, such as Lawrence Vidal, for incompetence and for assuming that comparative horoscopy, the comparison of future planetary configurations with those accompanying known past events, could actually predict what would happen in the future. Research suggests that much of his prophetic work paraphrases collections of ancient end of the world prophecies, mainly Bible-based, supplemented with references to historical events and anthologies of omen reports, and then projects those into the future in part with the aid of comparative horoscopy. Hence the many predictions involving ancient figures such as Sulla, Gaius Marius, Nero, and others, as well as his descriptions of battles in the clouds and the frogs falling from the sky. Astrology itself mentions that only twice in Nostradamus' preface and 41 times in the centuries themselves, but more frequently in his dedicatory letter to King Henry II. In the last quatrain of his 6th century, he specifically attacks astrologers. His historical sources include easily identifiable passages from Livy, Stutius, the 12 Caesars, Plutarch, and the classical historians, as well as from medieval chroniclers such as Geoffrey of Villehardouin and Jean Froissart. Many of his astrological references are taken almost word for word from Richard Roussant's La Vie de l'Estat et Mutations des Temps of 1549 through 1550. Oh, shoot. One of his major prophetic sources was evidently the Mirabilis Liber of 1522. Excuse me, which contained a range of prophecies by Pseudo Methodius, the Tributine Sibyl, Joachim of Fiore, Savonarola, and others. His preface contains 24 biblical quotations, all but 2 in the order by the Savonarola. Oh my. This book has enjoyed considerable success in the 1520s, when it went through half dozen editions, but did not sustain influence, perhaps owing to its mostly Latin text, Gothic script, and many difficult abbreviations. What is it? Don Black says, Villain hard work wiener. Oh, shit. Nostradamus was one of the first to rephrase the prophecies in French, which may explain why they are credited to him. Modern views of plagiarism did not apply in the 16th century. So Liz says, I've got awesome booty pants. Nice. Authors frequently copied and paraphrased passages without acknowledgement, especially from the classics. The latest research suggests that he may, in fact, have used bibliomancy for this, randomly selecting a book of history or prophecy and taking his cue from whatever page it happened to fall open at. Further material was gleaned from the De Honesta Disciplina of 1504 by Petrus Crinitus, Peta, which included extracts from Michael Faceo's De Monibus and the De Mysterious Agrippidum concerning the mysteries of Egypt, a book on Chandelian and Assyrian magic by Im Bilakas. Jesus Christ, these words are hard. A 4th century Neo-Platonist. Latin versions of both had recently been published in Lyon, and extracts from both are paraphrased in the second case almost literally in his first 2 verses, the first of which appended to this article. While it is true that Nostradamus claimed in 1555 to have burned all of the occult works in his library, no one can say exactly what books were destroyed in this fire. Don Black says, Doomsday, be careful with them words. Yeah, I might be summoning a demon or something, right? But going back to what it says here, that he claimed to have burned all his cult books and stuff like that. How much you want to bet the Catholic diocese and stuff like that over there in the Vatican? They probably have that all hidden inside that vault. I wouldn't pass on that. Only in the 17th century did people start to notice his reliance on earlier, mainly classical sources. Nostradamus' reliance on historical precedent is reflected in the fact that he explicitly rejected the label prophet on several occasions. Given this reliance on literacy sources, it is unlikely that Nostradamus used any particular methods for entering a trance state other than contemplation, meditation, and incubation. His sole description of this process is contained in the letter 41 of his collected Latin correspondence. The popular legend that he attempted the ancient methods of flame gazing, water gazing, or both simultaneously is based on naive reading of his first 2 verses, which merely likened his efforts to those of Delphic and Brandic oracles. The first of these is reproduced at the bottom of this article, and the second can be seen by visiting the relevant facsimile site. In his dedication to King Henry II, Nostradamus describes emptying my soul, mind, and heart of all care, worry, and unease through mental calm and tranquility. But his frequent references to the bronze tripod of the Delphic rite are usually preceded by the words as though compare once again external references to the original text. By 1556, Nostradamus' gout, which had plagued him painfully for many years and made movement very difficult, turned into edema. In late June, he summoned his lawyer to draw up an extensive will bequeathing his property plus 3,444 crowns, around US dollars 3,000 today, minus a few debts to his wife pending her remarriage, in trust for her sons pending their 25th birthdays and her daughters pending their marriages. This was followed by a much shorter codicil. On the evening of the 1st of July, he is allegedly to have told his secretary, Jean de Chavigny, "You will not find me alive at sunrise." The next morning, he was reportedly found dead, lying on the floor next to his bed and a bench. For Presage 141 for November 1567. Posthumously edited by Chavingy to fit what happened, he was buried in the local Frencian chapel in Ceylon. Chavingy, yeah. Psychomantia, Mod says he was an OGB, old gouty bastard. And Dom Black says, anemia, watch out for he be pooping. Yep. Guys, I've reached the end of this show. Don't forget to follow and like the content artists here in the collective, such as Odd Mother, Cemetery Joe and the Cemetery Kids, Chaos and Squeaks, The Sideshow, Stray Hair, Night of the Living Dreads, Jugs and Beast Unright, The Metal Show, Psychic Cindy, Jillian and Genevieve, The Sinister Sisters, Dom and Tom's World, and Tom's World. Also like and follow Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Bunny DC, Psychomantium 13, Roots Bleed Red, PBDC TV, and also I have my own page as well. It's Doomsday Aubrey TM. Many thanks to Liz and Frank for helping me out with the production. Thank you all. Have a great night and see you next Monday for History 101. Bye.